Could Prime Brig save the 300? Yes, she could. But I don't even think we need Prime Brig to pull it off. So instead, I will be using the current, or August 2026 version of Brig to pull this off. And here's how we're going to break it down. First, we're going to talk about the combat area, the combat zone, what we're dealing with, what she's dealing with. Second, we're going to talk about her kit. What are her abilities, how she can use them, and what sort of strategy she can work around with. And then third and finally, we're going to talk about the actual outcome, and whether or not, she could save the 300. So, the Gulf Amalia. Now, the actual pathway that they had to cover, while it was stated to be around 330 feet wide, which is definitely too wide for what we're looking for here, they actually created marshlands on both sides, which caused it to be a path that's stated to be no wider than what a chariot could go over. So that's what, maybe 5 meters? No? If not 10 feet max, probably, which is certainly a perfect range for Brig to cover. Now, obviously something that's rather important are both who she's fighting with, as well as who she's fighting against. Now the Spartans, looking at their armor and trying to kind of get like a rough HP amount to what they have, because it actually does matter with Brig and her healing, is you'll see, looking at this armor, it kind of looks a lot like Vendetta, so we're going to go with Vendetta's HP pool. Now for the opponents, obviously it's a bit harder to kind of find an Overwatch character that looks like them or has armor that kind of appears like them, so I'm just going to go with a very basic Cassidy, because he kind of also has the same amount of layering going on, so we're just going to stick with that. So there you have it. You have both our opponents and our allies' HPs, and also, just while we're at it, we're going to say that their weapons do base melee damage, as that is pretty much what every single character in Overwatch does, so let's just assume that hitting somebody with a weapon or a stick or whatever it is does the same amount of damage. Now starting off, what are Brig's actual combat capabilities? Well, let's begin with how her survivability works, right? She has 250 HP, some of which is armor. Brig also utilizes the Survivor sub-roll, which means every time she shield bashes, she will immediately start gaining health back. Of course, to be able to do exactly that, she needs to have her signature barrier shield, which, while it cannot actually block melee attacks, interestingly enough, it is actually fully capable of blocking all projectiles and has an HP of up to 300. Of course, this allows her to stop any raining arrows down upon the 300 Spartans, as well as also never really being destroyable, as when it's broken, it's only gone for about 5 seconds, which in such a drawn-out battle as this one has almost negligible effects. Alright, up until now it's been pretty calm, but here's where it really starts to get a bit ridiculous. Her Inspire ability. Now, on base, this heals 12 HP instantly every time it's triggered, and for 4 seconds gives 11.25 HP per second on a radius of 20 meters. Now what this means is that it fully covers the entire front line that they are holding, which means every single person that would be taking damage will always be in Inspire range as long as she's on the front line, in the middle, or even just in the second row in the middle. Alongside that, since we've agreed that the damage that the opponents will be doing is 30 damage for their melee, we know that they would have to be hitting them at least once or twice per 1 or 2 seconds to actually really be out damaging or healing. Except that even gets negated now with her new 12 healing per instant on trigger. Say she's triggering it every 1 second as the enemies are just standing there right in front of her for her to infinitely trigger Inspire and never let it run out. That means that she's healing all of the Spartans on the front line for 23.25 HP per second. I would like to see the enemy try and outdamage that. This basically makes the entire Spartan front line immortal. Now tack on both Rally's ability to give everybody armor, heal, and just make Brig overall basically immortal by human standards, as well as health packs being able to be thrown to any person who might be hit by any sort of stray arrow. It really starts to show that Brig's ability to change this fight is massive. Now the worst part for Xerxes is that we haven't even actually talked about Brig's offensive capabilities. Obviously, first off, there's her flail, which does 45 damage per swing, and can actually hit multiple enemies per swing. I think she's going to be hitting every single enemy in front of her that's in a very straight, tightly packed line. She should probably be able to hit up to 10 people with each swing. Second, there's her whiplash or whip, and that does 70 damage with a cooldown that's honestly pretty negligible also for the fight, and that also sends enemies flying back. So what that means is if they send any sort of chariot or cavalry, she can literally whiplash the giant chariot just straight into the marsh, super easily. And of course, just in case she needs to stun somebody or just move around quicker, she has her shield bash as well. She has so many different offensive capabilities that really tie well into the combat zone here. So if we do a little bit of quick math, if you do 45 damage for the whip along a row of 10 enemies, plus the whip shot on a cooldown of 40 seconds for 70 damage, you get a whole heckin' lot of damage per second. With a little bit more math, we can find that every single hour, Brig would kill 6,732 of Xerxes' warriors. Within only 3 hours of combat, she would have more kills, have caused more casualties than all of the Spartans combined in the total battle. That means that Brig easily doubles, if not triples, the offensive capabilities of the Spartans. The crazy part is, I don't even have to give her any of her perks, either minor or major. She just doesn't even need them to win this. I mean, even if Xerxes takes advantage of the goat path that he actually did in the battle, it wouldn't matter because all the Spartans would have to do would be make a shield wall circle around Brig, and they would literally be unkillable as they cut down the entire 200,000 person army within literal hours, if not just within 1 day. I don't even need to talk about how the actual battle would go or what any strategy would be because she simply just doesn't need it. It is impossible for the Spartans and the 300 to lose with Brig on their side. So in a long-winded fashion of my earlier statement of yes, Prime Brig could 100% save the Spartans and actually basically slaughter the entirety of Xerxes' army, yes, even not Prime Brig, and actually current Brig, which is weaker, could also do it just as well.